You know what you tell them? Say it's three types of people. It's people from around the way. It's people that's in the way. And what else? It's people that make a way, big motion.
I lost a bag and got a bigger bag. I lost a friend and got a realer friend. Thought I lost a plug, he was really just a middleman. Things just be tests, like the universe tests you with things.
What's up, guys? Hopefully all is well. Got some interesting videos lined up for us today. It's just the start of it. We about to build, build, and build. So let's get right into it.
Doritos made see-through mice. I know this sounds crazy, but this could lead to a massive breakthrough in science and healthcare. So researchers at Stanford University were able to see through the skin of live mice by applying a mixture of water and tartrazine, or better known as bright yellow-orange food coloring, used in Doritos, other foods, and cosmetics. So the experiment was for the quest for better methods to see tissue and organs within the body. So they used tartrazine because the molecules absorb blue and ultraviolet light, which make it easier for light to pass through the mouse skin. It's literally like magic. So after testing this on mice tissue samples and raw chicken, the researchers rubbed the solution on the skulls and abdomen of the mice. As it absorbed, within a few minutes, they could see the skin, muscle, and connective tissue transparent in live rodents. That's crazy. So there are pictures of these translucent mice, and they're a little graphic. So that's why my head's covering this one right here. But I mean, you guys, look them up if you want to see. It is insane. Now, the reason this is such a breakthrough is because you can actually see the organs working in their natural manner. Obviously, my skin's a lot thinner than our skin, but they're definitely going to look into this one.
That seemed very, very interesting. Like medical advancements that can happen with just that. You just look inside somebody without the x-rays, the radiate, and you can see the organs. That's even better. That's like a different level of x-ray. What's your thoughts about that? That's very interesting. That makes a lot of sense, though.
Smithsonian is responsible for hiding most of the discoveries of giant humans. They don't want people to know about these giants because it goes against the evolution theory. The skull used to be on display in Winnemucca, Nevada until a few years ago when they took it down. It's in the basement. You have to specially ask to see it. A giant human skull. Here's a normal human thumb bone. Underneath is a giant human thumb bone. We've got a replica of a thigh bone in our museum from a guy that would have been about 13 feet tall. If you meet a guy like that, call him sir. These jaw bones are on display at a hotel in Turkey, 6.5 inches across the TMJs. Any one of you could put your head inside the jaw and bounce it around. Waukesha, Wisconsin, they found a human skull 3 times the size of ordinary humans, found in an Indian burial mound. Roman Emperor Maximus was 8'6", 2,000 years ago, where we get our word maximum from. When the Mexicans, Cortez, went to Mexico and conquered part of it, the people who lived there said, oh, there used to be giants that lived on this continent. They brought a bone of one of these guys out. Just the thigh bone was as tall as Cortez. This is a giant block of rock. Who on earth is moving these things? Consider that's a camel in front of it for scale. Who's cutting and moving these things? This is a 39-pound axe head. Swing a 10-pound sledge for a few minutes and see why I'm wondering who's swinging a 39-pound axe head. And in Guam, they have a legend that the giants used to live on the island of Guam and built these big latte stones over there. In Indiana, 8 giants were found ranging from 8 to 9 feet long wearing heavy copper armor. The museum was not interested in them. Why would a museum not be interested in 9-foot skeletons to put on display? Could it be that there's a theory called evolution which says we started off small and we're getting bigger? Which makes us feel important, of course, you know. We're evolving. Ye shall be as gods. You're getting better. Could it be the truth is exactly the opposite? People were much bigger before the flood, and now we're getting worse? And maybe they're trying to hide that?
Possible. Or what if this was just a whole different species, period? And either they left, we driven them out. I mean, probably the best place unless they had UFOs. Some type of spaceship underground. Thoughts?
Now we have a hot war in Europe with Russia and Ukraine, and then we have another one in the Middle East with Israel and Hamas. What other parts of the world should we be paying attention to that have the most risk of becoming a hot war as well?
This is funny to me, Brian, right? It's funny to me because what you're saying is what the average person understands. There are only 2 hot wars. Do you know how many armed conflicts there are right now in the world, according to the Human Rights Institute? There are 144 hot war zones in the world.
Wow.
But you're an American, I'm guessing, right? Or you're Canadian, Brian?
American, yep.
Yeah. American media dominates the English-speaking world. So because of that, all anybody really talks about is whatever makes the headlines in mainstream American news. So with 144 active hostile zones, the oldest of all the war zones is actually in Colombia. So in Colombia, there have been active, hot, armed conflicts with rebel groups, with the FARC, with various drug cartels. I mean, it's been going on for decades, multiple decades. So when you think about what's happening in Ukraine and what's happening in Israel, it's the most recent, it's the most high profile, it's probably got the most hardware in terms of, various military forces that are being employed. You've got naval forces in Ukraine, and you've got air, surface to air, and air to surface missiles happening in Israel. So you have all that going on, but the world is always in conflict. Syria is still in conflict. Yemen is still in conflict. Places in Latin America, all across Africa are still in conflict. There are child soldiers still fighting in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So there's all sorts of conflict going on all the time. But to your point, where is the next conflict? Where is the conflict going? I mean, right now, all roads clearly show that there is an increasing tension between the United States and China for what's called near-peer competition or close peer competition to become the next global leader, the next global superpower. The United States has held that role for a long time. China has been slowly, well, some would say not so slowly, catching up to that title. And there's no way that you can look at the next 5 to 10 years and not be curious about what will conflict look like between the United States and China. In many ways, you're already seeing it. Not only do you see China running exercises over Taiwan, disregarding Taiwan's airspace, demonstrating blockades of Taiwanese water, not only do you see that at the same time that the United States is selling more weapons to Taiwan. The foreign aid package that was just passed by the House in the United States, if you've been keeping up with what's been going on there, that foreign aid package included money for Israel, included money for Ukraine, and included almost $9 billion in aid for the Indo-Pacific. The Indo-Pacific is a catch-all term that basically means they have an opportunity to send Taiwan a bunch of money. Because they're investing, the United States is starting to invest in the future conflict that they're hoping to avoid, but also have to realistically accept is going to come when China chooses to take aggressive military action on Taiwan.
Ford Motor Company just filed.
I pray that don't happen, but you can't control what the leaders decide to do.
For a patent for an in-car system that eavesdrops on your conversations so that it can play you ads while you're driving. And I wish I could say that this was made up, but it's very much so not. And here's a little still from the patent itself, where you can even see the selected ad there on the center dashboard. So let's talk about what's going on here, because a lot of it has to do with data collection. The car wants to play you advertisements based on your destination, maybe your GPS destination, your vehicle information, and most importantly, by just listening to your conversations. Now, filing a patent doesn't mean that they have fully built and implemented the thing. It doesn't even mean that they're going to. It just means that they could. Somebody somewhere thought it was worth patenting because they might use it later. It said that the new system could be responsive to the voice commands you've given the car. It can identify your voice and your ad preferences and those of passengers in the car. Finally, it can listen to conversations to determine if it's better to serve you a visual ad while you're talking, or maybe an audio ad when there's a lull in the conversation, so that it'll know like what's the optimal kind of ad to give you, which I think is kind of wild. And even in the patent itself, it acknowledges that in-car advertising might be received poorly by the occupants. For one, there's a recognition that an occupant's natural inclination to seek minimal or no ads should be balanced with the maximum opportunity for ad-based monetization. So basically just serve them as much as they can stomach. And the patent basically says that it will use a few different algorithms to bypass occupants' preference for zero ads by playing ads at certain times, attempting to minimize the disruption by understanding the context, and it's not here, but that would be context of your conversation, which is kind of wild. It'll keep track of how many ads you've been served per trip, different ads in bad traffic. It'll use deep GPS, like it'll even listen to your displeasure out loud if you curse at it. It'll know how negative your interaction with the on-car ads is. And I think this is just wild and frustrating. And it seems like they've built it to be unavoidable. It seems like they've built it knowing that it's going to be annoying, and they've probably put some sort of AI or machine learning algorithm in there to guarantee that it serves you the maximum amount of ads that you will swallow before you give up hope and just sell the car. I got to tell you, if I get a new car, and it's offering me this where my car plays me ads after I pay like 50 grand for it, no ma'am, I'll go back and get a 1984 fossil sauce burning beater before I listen to that.
I cannot believe that
That is insane. But thinking we get into a dystopia like situation here with stuff like this.
nobody's talking about this, so I have no choice. TikTok, every word I'm speaking comes from accredited sources and directly out of the leader's mouth themselves. And I'll have them on screen with me. As you can see, Russia's top targets. Why does this matter? Well, if you haven't been up to date, it's about to go freaking down. Before I show you why, if you're on the East Coast with me, we might be screwed. California, y'all got like earthquakes and all sorts of stuff coming before this even happens. Right this minute, we have Canada and the UK pushing Biden and the US to allow Ukraine to use long-range weapons into Russia. Like into Moscow, Russia. To which Putin and the Russian Federation said if that does happen, it'll be all-out craziness everywhere with everybody involved for a fact.
Это будет означать, что страны НАТО, США, европейские страны воюют с Россией.
Не будет, это будет означать, что с этого момента страны НАТО
From the moment
начинают
that
прямую
NATO
войну с
countries
Россией.
start a direct
В этом
with
случае,
Russia, in that
разумеется,
case, we
мы
will
должны
be forced to make
принимать
appropriate
соответствующие
decisions. Y'all, who is going to stop these freaking lunatics?
Vladimir Putin says Russia will be at war with NATO if Ukraine uses long-range missiles deep into Russia.
Have you ever talked?
It seemed like that's what they want. It's like they want to start, a 3-type situation. We already had 1, we already had 2. They trying to get 3 going. And it should be a law that if these leaders want to start these type of big events, they have to go out there themselves and fight for the people. Because there's no, you're not a leader if you just stand in office and give directions to me. A leader lead by example. And it's sad that, they try to put everything into perspective that we're against one another, but ain't always the case.
Talked about something and then got an ad for it on your phone right after, It's the weirdest feeling, and a company just admitted to doing this. So Cox Media Group was pitching to investors their active listening software, saying that AI is using what they call real-time intent data by listening to our conversations, saying advertisers can use this and that we leave a data trail based on our conversations and online behavior. Companies have spoke up about this. Google saying they removed CMG from its partners program. Meta is saying that they're reviewing this company to see if it violates any terms of service and that they do not use our microphone for ads. Amazon has said it has never worked with CMG and has no plans to do so.
Social contract.
What's your thoughts about that one? It's all about control. If I know what you're thinking, I can control you. They trying to be the big shepherd. Big shepherd.
You can't get mad. You can't get mad. You can't let it get you. Because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken that you are going to be fucked over at some point by people who you may have done something nice for. And it may happen that by circumstance, or even very purposefully, that you fuck someone over. But that shouldn't get in the way of you being able to sit down and have fun with them. Am I on the right track?
Absolutely. Because it ain't personal.
No, it's not personal. They don't really mean to hurt you. I mean, there's a lot of motivations for why it happens. Yes, many. You know, you have to choose what level of integrity you're coming in at. And you'll resent it for a little while, then you have to let it go. Otherwise, you'll eat yourself alive here. And I think it takes that kind of cockroach resilience to survive in this town.
He talking about Hollywood, but what's your thoughts? Like what he said sounds like some real world type situation. It's very interesting. It sounds like rambling of a madman to some. It could, and to me, it sounds like it could be some true advice here. That's just what happens sometimes.
The situation is just a nightmare. It is a absolute disaster. It's a nuclear wasteland that men and women, frankly, are wandering around in. There's a lot of reasons for this. My research that I've done over the last 10 years shows that we've been basically in a broken down family system that's got worse over the last 100 years, about 125 years actually. It's getting catastrophically worse over time, and it's not getting better. And now what we're experiencing is a massive segregation where any individuals that are raised in healthier, more secure families, the research shows about 1/3 of people now, they segregate out really hard. They tend to get married really young. They tend to stay together for a long period of time, and they are out. They're out of the dating pool by and large. Now, what's left is 2/3 of people who are raised in insecure families, who are raised not to know how to get their needs met, not to know how to build loving, long-term, sustainable romantic connections. And then these people go out into the wild and try to find strangers that they have no information about to try to marry and build a family with, but they're not allowed to talk about wanting to marry or build a family. And they're frankly terrified at getting hurt. So now everybody is running around trying to date based on dopamine, what's going to feel good, and covering up their needs. And this is why we are in an absolute catastrophe, because you can't build anything that way.
I agree. Like one thing I learned from one of my elders, they said, find a woman's security, right? So whatever a woman's security is, see if you align with that. You know, some women might want financial security, want to be protected, want to be pleased somehow, or it might just want purpose in serving you, you know? And then on top of that, you just got to learn just how to navigate the waters of life. So I think a lot of us, you know, young people are kind of lost souls out here because we've really been guided by other lost souls.
Anyone else find the invitations to the all-white party extremely weird? This is the highest profile party in the world called the All-White Party. It's hosted by billionaire Michael Rubin, and it happens every year on the 4th of July. But there was something about the invitations that just didn't sit right with me. This one is Tom Brady's. This one right here.
Well, and another thing, we try to fit in so much. We want to be like everybody else instead of looking at your attributes, your possible potential, and accepting that. Everybody isn't going to be multimillionaires. Everybody isn't going to be billionaires. And sometimes you just got to accept that, you know? And I think that's one of our hardest things to accept is the fact that you can't. And a lot of my generation, previous generation, they do not like to be told I can't. previous generation accepted almost anything, just there's levels to it. But yet again, yin and yang, find balance.
Here is Drake's, and this is Quavo's. You can see all of the celebrities' invitations if you just look them up. But if you pause and look at the artwork, there's some weird stuff going on. These invitations were done by George Condo. This is a very popular artist, and some of his artwork goes for millions of dollars, and he gave each celebrity their own unique invitation. And I looked up some of his artwork, and he has a lot of interesting stuff, including when he collabed with Kanye West for one of his album covers. He drew him up a bunch of artwork. Yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself. A lot of people question what actually goes down during this party, especially after they saw what Michael Rubin made Meek Mill do, jumping around like a bunny.
Meek Mill is crazy. It's Meek Mill.
Because he supposedly lost a bet. And then in the private jet, when Lil Baby and Meek Mill were saying that they were going to get drunken hugs if they don't behave at the party.
I don't care what anyone says. You're
Oh, apologies. I think he just messed up. I think you know.
getting a drunken hug. You too. You too. Drunken hugs are coming tonight.
What the heck is going on with this war?
Do y'all think they be doing like rituals, humiliation stuff, and then some of them just like it and just roll with it because of the status and the things that come with it? Pause.
Watermelon. Oh my God.
I think that's spoiled.
What in the world? I'm scared to open. Don't open it. Something might crawl out.
That's crazy.
Oh my. Don't open it. Ah. Please. Mike,
it might be a dinosaur.
It might be. Something might crawl out. I'm gonna throw up. Straight up. I will throw up.
Ooh, she's sweet as can be.
Don't eat it. Don't eat it. It's not supposed to do that. No.
Look at this. Look on this side, baby. Look how it's
That's disgusting. Throw it out.
So,
what's your thoughts behind that? Is it spoiled? Anybody that's a watermelon enthusiast or knowledge, I don't even know what you would call a farmer. Like, is that like a thing? Do watermelons do that?
This is California, and this is crazy because what we have been talking about lately, especially since April 8th of this year, with this massive cosmological event, we have a lot of pressure changes in the earth. Just like in 1800, we had that massive earthquake in 1811 and 1812. And of course, that happened after a total solar eclipse. Now, lately, for a little while, this guy right here, we've had this guy telling everybody to evacuate California for about a month or two. If you look at his TikTok, that's all it is. He has shirts that literally say, evacuate California.
Evacuate! Evacuate the state of California right now! It's a bad thing. Y'all don't want to be here when that earthquake hit.
He said he had a vision where all of California came underwater after huge earthquakes. Could he really be this crazy, or is he telling you something that he himself saw? Not to mention a living Nostradamus and the other Nostradamus' predictions. And yes, we had known that this was going to happen at some point, but this article right here actually suggests it'll happen by 2032. But don't forget about the Google image search for each year. 2028 seems to be almost the last year, with a giant asteroid coming 2029. As 2030 search seems to be a whole new world. But a lot of people are calling for this earthquake sooner rather than later. San Andreas may be getting ready for an earthquake, they say. Studies suggest it's prime, but a Dr. Lucy Jones disagrees. Whose side are you on, Lucy? And it was such a big thing in his life, that vision, that he literally devoted all of his time and life to warning people. I don't know. We'll see.
Like, and I'm not trying to piggyback off dude. I'll try to be very careful what I say. But ever since I was little, I've been getting like all types of information. Like in my dreams, like it's like almost like deja vu or premonitions. Like I've really been seeing some things, y'all. Like y'all, like all I know is the one thing that it's like I heard it, but I felt it at the same time. Some told me I just got to be physically ready. Just be in great shape. I don't know why, maybe health wise, but it's hard to really explain the phenomena that I felt that time, but I get things here and there. So maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's all the movies and stuff I watch. I try not to think too deep about it, but who knows? Sometimes you can speak things into existence.
American people are living in a matrix. If you ask 100 people on the street, what kind of government is America supposed to be? 99% of them will tell you a democracy. But that's a lie. The word democracy is not written into the Constitution at one time. It's not in the Bill of Rights. It's not in the Declaration of Independence. The Founding Fathers hated the idea of a democracy. They thought it was the worst form of government there is. And I agree with them. If you're part of the 49%, you're not free. America was founded as a constitutional republic. But the psychological operations that they do to us, they make us believe that we're a democracy and that majority rules. You have your rights because you were born with them, right? We're not here to put on this earth so the government can tell us how to live our lives and what we must do. We put into these systems and these paradigms. Nonsense. You know, be individuals. Think for yourself. Have critical thinking.
I agree with brother. I really do. Everything he said is undoubtedly the truth, in my opinion. We got to start thinking for ourselves sometime instead of always just listening to what you was told. But I appreciate everybody. Please like, comment your thoughts, subscribe if you're new, and take care. Hey, and I'm working on some more, so I'm about to get some more bangers. Like I'm dropping another one right after this. So let me edit it, put it together, and y'all be seeing me real soon.